Howdy YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Gunman. So this video here, I'll be taking you guys through the prep, primer and paintwork on this Tesla Model 3. The car came in with quite a lot of stone chips all through it. So the bonnet, we decided that needed some primer, just in case you missed a couple, and we did. Same with the bumper, it was heavily stone chipped. So what you do, you go over it one time, fix as many of the stone chips as you can, and then that's, we say, 320 grit, and then we put a couple of coats. I put 3 coats of primer on it, and then sand it down again. So same thing with the bonnet, but with the bonnet, I'm conscious of not going too heavy with the primer, because we have micron thicknesses that we do want to stay under. So once you get over 200 microns, you do run the risk of getting stone chips and making it worse if you've got too much paint on there. So that's why we went for 2 coats of primer on the bonnet, 3 on the bumper, mainly because bumpers generally catch a lot more stone chips than your bonnets will, and I find it easier to identify and pick up the stone chips in the bonnet. We did only miss, say, like 3 or 4 first pass, so there wasn't much that we had to pick up after primer. But obviously on the guards here, we decided not to prime them. It can get a little bit messy, and yeah, I decided that it was unnecessary. The amount of stone chips on the guards was not as bad as the bumper and bonnet. So as you can see there, I put the Nuva stone chip fix UV filler in first, and then I razor bladed them out just to get them nice and smooth. I then got a piece of 500 grit, orbital sanded over that, and then I got a piece of 800 grit by hand just to scuff any other pieces that we missed. And then obviously for the rest of the blend, we just used one of those 3M grippy pads just to degloss or remove any shiny spots, just to make sure that our paint is going to stick. And as you can see here, picking up the last of the stone chips, they can be a lot harder to see the first pass around because you've fixed so many. It's very easy to miss a couple, as I mentioned before, but as you see here, this is one thing that I like to do. You would think with the amount of stone chips that you have sometimes on bonnets and stuff like this, that it's just too much, take too much time to use that torch. But what I've found is you can just work your way across that bonnet while you're scraping the previous bit that you just dried. You can be drying the next, if that makes sense. So yeah, when I started using the UV stone chip fillers, I used to, on bonnets and bumpers with lots of stone chips in it, I used to just go back to the polyester. But after a while, I found that technique, and it's just best across the board. The UV filler is really, for me, stone chips and stuff like that, absolutely ideal. I actually find that the UV filler is easier to scrape out too. The one that I use is, anyway, the Nuva green. The Nuva pink is more for a larger dent or something like that, but the Nuva green, absolutely perfect for small stone chips and pinholes and stuff like that, and it only takes 10, maximum 15 seconds to dry it, so very fast and very efficient, and you can paint straight over it. So it's great stuff, absolutely swear by it, love it. Anyway, next up, we've got all the prep work done. Even the bumper, I just finished that off with 500 grit. So you may obviously also notice that I put a dark primer on it. Now PPG don't have a fully black primer, but I found this is just fine for, any black cars that you're painting. It's technically like a very dark grey. But I've found that blacks don't generally cover that badly anyway. One thing that I do like about PPG is they still actually have a white primer. So Standox ended up ditching their white primer because some people were complaining about coverage, but the way I see it is at least I've got the option. When you take the option away, I don't have that anymore. So especially on your 3-stage pearl whites, it's good to have that white primer, so that your first coat of base coat covers pretty much instantly. And I say that on specifically 3-layer pearls because you're already putting a lot of water-based paint down, and what can happen when you put a lot of water-based paint down is you can get a bit of dye back in your clear. So yeah, little things like having a white primer, they do actually make a bit of a difference to the quality of the finish. Another one I've started using recently is the Ultra Stat Anti-Static Gun, which you see me using here while I'm tack ragging. So I've done a specific review on these if you want to go and check that out, but originally I was not sold. I was just like, look, I'll try it. They sent it out, I'll give it a shot, but I don't think it's going to do anything. Because we did have a different one. It was called like Mixed Plast or something like that. It looked like some kind of a phaser out of like Star Trek in the 70s or something. It's big, bulky, clunky, and I just found that it didn't do anything. So I really was not expecting much out of this Ultra Stat Anti-Static Gun. But what I've found is that it will help with the tiny little D-nibs, like the little micro nibs that in some shops you may not even have to remove them. In plenty of smash shops these days, they'll just send the job out like that. Unless it's really big, they'll just leave it. But this shop here, we do a lot of warranty work and like a little bit higher quality than your average panel shop. Like, we don't go to that absolutely pedantic level. Sometimes I think they might go a little bit too far, but whatever. We do just do quality work here. So it does mean a little bit more work in that polishing bay, but yeah, my detailer, he's like, man, like the jobs are coming out so much cleaner. A lot of the time what he'll do is just use the mini buff. He'll find maybe like 2 or 3 nibs in each panel compared to, you know, maybe 10 to 15 previously. And at the end of the day, whether or not it's small or it's big, you still got like the same thing to sort of buff up, if that makes sense. So like a lot of my jobs previous, they look really clean, and they were generally pretty clean. But there's those tiny little ones which we have to pick up at this shop. So yeah, it has actually made a decent impact on this shop. So it's really been good. But yes, you may have noticed when I was putting that base coat down, I had like a bit of overspray, or maybe like a bit of, I think it's like overspray from airline or something, potentially even off your arm or something like that. But I do take a lot of effort in like making sure I'm clean, spray suit's clean, airlines are clean, but still sometimes you just gonna get a bit of stuff that lands in your paint. And you may have noticed before that I was actually able just to pick it out when the base coat was fresh. So yeah, I find 9 times out of 10, if you get a big chunker like that in your base coat, you are able to pick it out when the base coat's fresh, or even when the clear coat is fresh. But of course you do have to be careful, and it's not always going to work. Sometimes you just pick it and it just doesn't want to come out, and you may just have to redo the panel, which again is not the end of the world. But yeah, at least give it a shot. So look, a stat gun, I guess I was highlighting that point in this video because a stat gun is not going to stop that. It's not going to stop the big bits. That's what I've found anyway, but it will stop those little ones, which I made an Instagram post on it, and I mentioned this, that I just thought previously that those little ones, I just thought that that's just part of spray painting and you're always going to get them. I thought that was just the way that the paint goes down. I thought some of it could have potentially been like the metallic particles. But as it turns out, look, it turns out I think most panels, and especially bumpers, have got even just a low level of static in it. Previously I just thought you either had static or you don't, but now I believe, yeah, you can have a minor static charge in panels that you wouldn't necessarily feel by running your arm hairs up against that panel, but it's still enough to sort of attract those tiny little bits of dust. So absolutely swear by that little stat gun. It's yeah, another little string to the bow, which can, yeah, improve my finishes, and it's great. It's a great feeling. I do take a lot of pride in my work, so it's a great feeling smashing out a nice glassy finish with barely any nibs in it. And it really does make a difference because I think that like the less with polishing, less is better. So if you're just doing 1 or 2 D-nibs, and then a lot of the time what the detailer will do is just use the mini buff on those spots instead of getting the big buff out, and it can be really hard, especially on like a solid black like this. It can be really hard to, once you've hit a panel with like a coarse cutting compound and a big buff, it can be hard to get those swirl marks out. So the clear coat that I'm using is the PPG LVC 131. We generally reserve this for like warranty jobs and the good quality cars. What we've actually been using a bit of lately is the autosane, and it's definitely not quite up there with the 131 clear. This 131 clear, the gloss retention and the way that it flows out is far superior than the autosane. But look, I've actually been enjoying using the autosane. I actually find the autosane better than most of the other PPG clears, ironically, because that's meant to be their budget line. I find it much better than the 105 was. I find it better than the 136. Yeah, for the longest time, I really did struggle with PPG clears. I just sort of laughed at the fact that they had so many and none of them were any good. Now they've got a couple of good ones. I do rate the 177, so that's an air dry clear. It's not quite as good as the 131. The 131 will definitely flow out a bit nicer and it will hold a better gloss. But yeah, I like to use the medium hardener for most jobs, and then I like to heat that clear coat up as well. So what I do is I will temperature control the clear for the finish that I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for like a more flat finish, I'll even get a little bit more temperature in it. But this finish that I got here is pretty much bang on what I wanted. Like these Teslas, I actually quite like these Teslas. I know they can be a little bit of a contentious topic. Some people do and some people hate them, some people love them. But I actually think they're okay. I like the idea of being able to, you know, charge the car on the solar power during the day. That'd be kind of cool. One day I might get one. But yeah, look, getting that finish is, look, the temperature of the clear is just as important as any way that you spray it, or even the viscosity. So yeah, I highly recommend getting a little bit of temperature in the clear. If you absolutely can't, for whatever reason, which I can't see what reason you wouldn't be able to get heat into the clear, get yourself a $100 microwave, find one on Hard Rubbish like I did, and you've got on-demand temperature control clear coat. But yeah, just quickly take note of how clean that bumper is. There's barely any nibs in it at all, and I put that down to, yes, partly my pretty damn good procedure, and it's not only that, it's definitely partly to do with that anti-static gun. Yeah, somewhat of a game changer. But yeah, if you want to go and get yourself a Gunman Edition DV1, be sure to go and check out the link in the description. They are limited edition, so they won't be around forever. I personally like the digital, but this gun does come with 2 fluid tips, so that is definitely a value add, which is probably coming in at like $130 to $150 these days. So yeah, we ship worldwide. Anyway guys, until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.